It's your boy, Shun, joined by my right-hand man, who is more useful than a pet rock, Steve OG.
Technically, I'm not on your right side. I'm across from you, so...
Well, I think on the very first episode, I said you were to my right and also to my left. Would that be in front of me?
Yes. Or behind you.
That is true. 360. I don't know. Anyway, join us as we open the Extreme Wrestling Archive, Barbed Wire, Hoodies, and Chokeslams.
Yeah, here we go for the 100th time. Hand grenade pins in every line. Throw them up and let something shine. Going out of my fucking mind. Filthy mouth, no excuse. Find a new place to hang this noose. String me up from atop these roofs. Knot it tight so I won't get loose. Truth is you can stop and stare. Run myself out and no one cares. Dug a trench out, lay down there with a shovel up out of reach somewhere. Yeah, someone pour it in. Make it a dirt dance floor again. Say your prayers and stop it out when they bring that chorus in. I bleed it out, digging deeper just to throw it away. I bleed it out, digging deeper just to throw it away. I bleed it out, digging deeper just to throw it away. Just to throw it away. Just to throw it away. I bleed it out.
So what up? You remember what happened last time?
Whole lot of things occurred.
All right. So this took place June 17th, 1995. There was 1,150 people in attendance, which I believe is at capacity of the ECW arena.
They weren't social distancing?
No, not in 95. Not yet. All right. So your world champ is the Sandman. Your TV champ, Eddie Guerrero. And your tag champs are... I always mispronounce this. How do you pronounce it?
Go ahead.
The Public Enemies.
Because there are two of them.
There's two. Alright, so what did we see last time? Last time we saw a lot of Raven Dreamer stuff.
And a lot of Sandman.
A lot of Stevie Richards, too, actually.
With Stevie Richards.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of featuring Stevie Richards.
There was a lot of Cactus and Shane Douglas stuff, as well as we got introduced to Bill Alfonso.
Plot. There was plotting.
Yeah. Bill Alfonso made his debut.
The evil referee.
Correct. The law-abiding referee. And I don't think any titles change hands, correct?
You're correct, sir.
All right. So, for this, we start off relatively quickly. I know you probably might not have known this, but the Stanley Cup Finals were just getting towards the end here, or the Stanley Cup tournament itself. I don't think it was the finals. But the Philadelphia Flyers had just gotten knocked out by the New Jersey Devils.
So you know how I feel about hockey, right?
Yes.
True story.
Not good thoughts.
True story. I watched this entire hockey series.
Really?
Back in 1995.
How do you know?
In an attempt to become a hockey fan.
At the age of like 11, 12?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh. What happened?
There was a lot of Eric Lindros, and this is when the puck was yellow on the screen.
Oh, on Fox?
Mm-hmm.
That was the most annoying thing ever.
Loved it. Then they got rid of it, and I never watched hockey ever again. I had no idea where the puck was.
You lost all interest.
No.
After I'll tell you what, though. That was cutting-edge technology in 1995.
Oh, yeah. A little Highlander action.
First up, we have the Broad Street Bully, who's actually Tony Stetson, versus the New Jersey Devil, who I have listed as some dude.
And they named him after said Devils of New Jersey.
Now, there's actually a New Jersey Devil, like, in folklore, right? Like, it's actually some kind of being in the sewers.
From New Jersey? I'm not aware of this.
Oh. So you're just basing that on the hockey team?
Oh, hockey. Yes.
Of East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Right.
Where the New York Giants... or, who is it? The Giants and the Jets both play, correct?
Mm-hmm. That is correct, sir.
The Meadowlands.
Yes.
All right, so, like I said, this is just based on...
So you're saying there's an actual devil in New Jersey?
Yeah, I think there is.
Does that mean that there's a king in Los Angeles?
I'm sure there is. All right, so this is, like I said, based on hockey. The New Jersey Devils, who actually went on to win the Stanley Cup that year, had just beaten the Flyers and knocked them out.
Hoisted.
Hoisted.
They hoisted.
What is that cup called? I can't even.
The Stanley Cup.
Oh, that's right.
Lord Stanley's Cup, if you will. What do they call the cup you win if you win the Stanley Cup playoffs?
When was the War of 1812?
What if you got just like a bit like an oversized red Solo cup?
This is like Toby Keith's.
Owned by some guy named Stan. This is Stan's cup.
Not Stanley, not the Stanley Cup. This is just Stan's cup.
Stan's cup. That's if you come in second, that's what you get. You get Stan's.
It's Stan's cup.
Big gulp.
From down on 37th Street there.
It's a big gulp cup. Stan's cup.
Oh god. So this was actually a 16-second squash match, and they actually did the whole, beginning of a hockey fight where you throw the gloves down and pull the other man's shirt over.
I learned that in
punch them.
Muddy Ducks 2.
Oh, it wasn't in the first one?
2.
They didn't promote violence.
So. Yeah.
That was more about Gordon Bombay than anything. Tony Stetson takes out the New Jersey Devil until 911 comes out. Or no, the New Jersey Devil actually attacks the Broad Street Bully from behind with a hockey stick. Then 911 comes out. They call 911. The crowd calls 911. Comes out, chokeslams the New Jersey Devil 4 times.
Not what you expect to happen if you call 911.
No.
Usually, an ambulance shows up and they take good care of you.
You expect aid.
They put fires out. Someone's helping.
There's a first responder there,
right,
to service you.
This guy seems like a second responder.
What if they just had somebody come out? They should do that to overdoses. Just have the person come out and chokeslam them after they Narcan them.
Yeah. Right.
So the only thing I had, 16 seconds squash match. The only thing I have for me to you is at least it's not a tag match. It was not a tag match.
Thank you. They slipped that 16 seconds in there.
As best they
could.
All right. Did you have any thoughts on that match? Of the match you didn't see?
No.
All right. So next up we have Big Val Puccio versus Mikey Whipwreck.
You mean Al Pacino?
No. Val Puccio.
Al Pacino.
Not even close.
Yeah, it has the word Al and a
Pacino. No, it's Puccio.
Puccio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Choo-choo. So Val Puccio, his weight had ranged from 475 to 550. That's ilbs.
Once you're 475, though, does it really matter?
After that,
yeah,
475 plus.
Yeah,
that's when you just put the plus size on it.
Uh-huh.
I guess when you get to a certain size, maybe 800. I think Yokozuna weighed 800.
I believe that's not true.
That's too big. So this dude could barely move. But this is the first time we see Big Val Puccio. He is new. He got into wrestling late 80s. His only claim to fame, he never went on to do anything. He actually died in 2011 due to complications from obesity. He tag teamed with his twin brother, and they were called the Undertakers. And they actually, WWF reached a settlement with them that they could no longer use the name. And I believe him and his brother got a couple matches in the WWF, but never amounted to anything.
So rather than being paid for the name, they just wanted a couple of jobber opportunities?
Correct, yes.
On the TV?
They didn't even make it onto the TV. It was what we call a dark match, which they do have lights on during that, but it is not on television.
That's where you get jobbed by jobbers?
Yeah. I don't even think they actually, looking through, I didn't really check too much. They didn't have a win.
What is the, what do you call someone who loses to a jobber?
Jobs to the jobbers?
I don't know.
I know what they call a jobber who is a better known jobber. They call them a jobber to the stars.
But what's the other way?
A jobber to the depths.
You're like a fluffer for a jobber. What is that?
Yeah,
what is that?
You're trying to make the jobber look better?
Yeah.
Oh god, that's even that's some low term I can't even think of.
Fluffer. I think you're a fluffer.
You might as well be the person who does porn acts in porn but can't even make it on a camera. Hence a fluffer. which I didn't even know existed for the longest time, but I didn't know they needed people to do porn shit to porn people while not on camera. Mm-hmm. How bad do you have to be to not make it on the porn camera?
Hey, it takes a village.
There's gods and clods. Everyone has a job. Mm-hmm. I need someone to pump my gas, shine my shoes.
I pump my own gas.
I do. And someone to keep my dick hard in between takes.
While pumping gas.
You gotta. Well, you know what though? They almost all have video cameras there, so yeah. Finally made it onto camera, although it's like closed circuit television. Alright, so we got Big Val out first. Then we hear Loser by Beck.
Soy un pendedor.
Yeah. You're getting good at
that. Thank you.
Loser comes
Mi
out.
español es muy bueno.
It's becoming muy good. Oh, wait, this is it. Alright, yeah. Loser kicks on as Mikey Whipwreck comes out. He actually kind of saunters to the ring. Takes his time. Because this match isn't going to be very long. Got to kill some time.
Why doesn't he come out to the Allman Brothers, the whipping post?
That's a good one.
Why doesn't he have a finishing move called the whipping post?
He has got one called a whippersnapper, which is pretty good. I don't think he has it yet, but that's eventually what it becomes.
But the whipping post.
You like that better? Mm-hmm. That could be like a signature move. Because a lot of wrestlers have multiple moves.
He could whip you into the ring post.
The post.
And call it the whipping post.
Or that big pole, that banister that's in the middle of the ECW arena.
Yeah.
Probably holding the roof up.
Right. Yeah.
That should have been labeled the whipping post, and he could only run people into it. It's a good idea. Let's see if it happens. We'll have to keep a whipping post watch.
This is the creativity that I bring to the table.
Alright. So we get a couple of "you fat fuck" chants to start things off. The two of them jaw jack. We get the "Kick His Ass Mikey" song that I think is actually a sports song, isn't it? What is that? Where they're like, "Kick his ass, Mikey, kick his ass." What is that like? Char? It's not char.
It's just a chant.
Yeah, doesn't it become famous for some other reason at some sports game?
They just that's like the rhythm of chanting at sporting events.
Oh, okay. That's just
usually it's like "Here we go" something.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, there you go.
Here we go. Here we go. Blank.
Okay.
It's usually two syllables.
Yeah.
Here we go. Blank blank. Here we go.
Blank.
No. Here we go. Blank blank. Here we go.
So use it in a sentence.
Here we go, Mikey. Here we go.
But they say "kick his ass."
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
Notoriously.
Here we go, Steelers.
Here we go.
But they have their own version. Here we go.
That's the song based on the chant.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so Mikey obviously overpowered by Big Val as he throws him to the ground, starts selling his shoulder. Does a good job with that. Obviously in some pain, but Mikey uses his quickness as he ducks a clothesline by Big Val and returns with some left-handed punches. Finally, he hits him with a devastating low blow, followed by 4 more low blows. And finally, a DDT. And that gets Mikey the victory. That kind of rhymes. A DDT gets Mikey the victory.
So 5 low blows.
5 low blows. That was essentially his offense. Followed by a DDT. I'm assuming Big Val probably couldn't have done much more than that because this man was huge. Didn't have a good turning radius.
And his balls were also in pain at that point.
Those are probably huge too. He had a big target area there. So I feel like this is basically King Hippo versus Little Mac. Except the X was on, instead of being on his belly button, it was on his ball sack. Which honestly, I think no matter how fat or skinny you are, an X on your ball sack, like there should be a bullseye there.
It's a bad tattoo.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna hurt everyone no matter what size you are.
I'm clenching right now.
So this again is Mikey overcoming the big man, which we have seen almost every month, with the exception of the giant Paul Laurie. Not Hugh Laurie, Paul Lauria. But his nickname was the Giant. He was the only person smaller than Mikey.
Which one is House?
Paul. Hugh. Damn.
One's as big as a house, one is house.
But his not him physically is as big as a house. Just his nickname. He was actually like 5'7", 120 pounds. They called him the Judge. Is that irony?
Don't you think?
All right. Any thoughts from you?
Big
man.
I don't think it's appropriate to hit someone in the testicles 5 times.
No. What's your limit?
0.
So once again, fucking David and Goliath, where David wins over Goliath
Every time.
Yeah, like this is kind of getting old, and the match I think was maybe a couple minutes.
Well, they're just
compared to
they're just rifling through these tonight.
Pumping them out today. So.
There must be a AA meeting in there tonight, so they had to get out of there.
Or bingo.
They had to get out of there so they could set up all the chairs.
Make the coffee.
Yeah.
Match 3 coming up. We have Hack Myers versus Vampire Warrior.
God damn it, I hate Hack Myers.
Why?
He's a hack.
He is. So that Am I Evil by Widowmaker hits as Hack comes out in his best Mr. Slave outfit. A lot of leather. Jesus Christ, I have written in that tone. I wrote that tone. Then we cut to the entrance curtain as a hooded vampire dude comes out.
Hence hoodies.
I assumed the hoodies were actually people from the hood.
No.
But it was just this.
It is a clothing apparatus.
Which covers
to keep
it.
one's head warm and dry. That comes attached to your shirt.
Jacket. Your padded.
Can we talk about the invention of the hood? Like, there was a time in the world where you wore a sweatshirt and or a coat, and you had to have a separate hat. And then somebody was like, "Wait a minute, we could just attach this onto the shirt
and sell it in one piece."
One piece. It's the equivalent of like when children wear like the onesies where it's a sock and pant.
Oh yeah,
together.
That's a nightmare to get them out of, to change them. But you're also not going to lose it like you would socks.
Like your baby?
No, you don't lose the baby.
They don't fall out of the bottom of it.
But if you had a baby in socks, you'd most likely lose the socks or the pants if they weren't one piece. Also, it works for adults. This vampire dude comes.
We should do a fashion show instead of a wrestling show.
Instead of Queer Eye, we have 2 dudes with an eye for fashion. Alright, so this vampire dude comes out wailing like a banshee.
A real vampire.
He's got the teeth.
Did they interview him? Did they have an interview with the vampire?
Well, Joey Styles does talk about how he wants to interview this vampire. But he said it sounded like a terrible movie. Which actually wasn't it a good movie?
Never seen it.
No. Didn't it win some awards?
No idea. I don't do vampire movies. I'm out.
No? You don't like sucking blood?
I'm more of a zombie kind of guy.
Are you a goth?
No, I like a good zombie movie.
Oh.
There's the plot of a zombie movie is way better than a vampire movie.
Not really.
Oh yeah.
I want to see, the only good one that got it right was, what was that? Dawn of the Dead, I think, where the zombies will actually ran and fucking fought you.
No,
Not the
what's the one with Brad Pitt? The
Interview with a Vampire.
No, the other one.
What's
Z.
the that one?
With the Z. I think
War Z.
Yeah.
Was that the one with
those were sprinting zombies?
Yeah, like I want zombies
that could like climb stuff and like
yeah.
they were like ninja. They were ninjas / zombies.
They were ninja capable.
I like my zombies moving slow.
Oh, see, I like them being more realistic. Like they can move and do stuff instead of just walking with their hands out straight, like Frankenstein's monster. But he wasn't a zombie.
You're not a traditionalist, I see.
No. I like to change with the times. Zombies are so 2,000 years ago. Jesus.
You're like a modern zombie.
Yes.
Modern zombie.
I want him to.
That'd be a good name for a band.
Modern zombie. In hoodies.
Modern zombies.
A zombie has like a hoodie on.
A zombie would never wear a hoodie.
They actually isn't fire their weakness. It was in all the video games I used to play. Anything undead or zombie.
Getting hit in the head isn't their weakness.
I said it was fire.
You can burn a zombie if you needed to, but I mean, that takes the sport out of it.
Yeah. All right. So I have, who the hell is this guy? So I'll tell you. This is David William Heath, who is Luna's real life husband, which I alluded to last time when I told you you'd meet him this time. So here he is. At this point, he formerly wrestled in the USWA and even in the WWF under a mask named the Black Phantom. Vampire Warrior did gain fame as Gangrel in the late 90s. So he's not famous yet, but he would become famous. And actually, what would become more famous is that Edge and Christian came in with him, and they actually became pretty famous.
And then he disappeared.
Yeah. And now he makes porn.
The Ministry of Darkness.
No, that was Undertaker. I don't think he was in it. Was he? Oh, he could have.
Edge, Christian, and Gangrel.
No, that was the Brood.
Yeah, but then the Brood became part of the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Remember they kidnapped Stephanie McMahon?
Yeah.
Put her on that thing.
And then it was Vince McMahon all along.
And then they were like, this is a stupid plot, and they just it just went away one day.
Well, nah. No, because Stone Cold saved her. And then you found out that the higher power was Vince McMahon.
I'm going to go back and watch that.
Yeah. Because he's like, it was me all along, Austin. Because he had the druid robe on.
That's right. Yeah.
He took it off, and then they became the corporate ministry.
That's right.
Yeah.
There was a merger. There was a merger between church and state.
Church and state. That is so true. Yeah. Hack Myers, he comes from the last house on the left, while the Vampire Warrior comes from the other side of darkness, and his weight is unknown. Did they use a different scale on the other side of darkness that you don't know what this person's weight is?
Well, but you couldn't see the scale if it's dark.
That's true. But it says the other side of darkness. So how do you know it's not light over there?
I don't know.
My main question, though, is where did these two learn how to wrestle?
I don't know. I don't know.
Does the other side of darkness have a wrestling school?
Yeah.
And where exactly is the last house on the left?
How left are we talking?
Yeah. Are we talking a political left? I feel like it's more deep in the woods. Last house on the left. They lock up, do a little do-si-do all the way around the ring, but end up with a stalemate. This gets a shriek from the Vampire Warrior, which eventually, I thought it started getting very hilarious, and I loved it. So
you love some good comedy during a fight.
I do. All right, so Vampire Warrior, eventually he gets the upper hand with a cheap shot. The Vampire Warrior hits a splash to the outside, which was pretty cool, from the top rope inside. And the two trade blows as the fans chant the Shaw sing-along. You know, where they say Shaw for hack and shit for his opponent. Very, very small amount, though. They didn't play into it, which was dumb. You gotta get the crowd involved. Always get the crowd involved. Hackster, he eventually hits his patented leg drop to an opponent over the bottom rope.
Does he actually have a patent on that?
Yes.
He filed paperwork with the U.S. Patent Office?
Yes.
On a leg drop?
Trademarked it. Well, it's a leg drop onto a rope. The guy draped over the rope. So it's not quite copyright infringement of the Hulkster. So we can call him the Hackster and his big leg. All right. So they continue to trade blows back and forth until Hack Myers misses an elbow in the corner. The Vampire Warrior hits a DDT and gets the pin. And then we get another Banshee Wail. Ooh! So this is the third quick-ass match in a row.
Moving.
Styles, he states that the Vampire Warrior's DDT looks very familiar. He's talking about Tommy Dreamer or Raven. Why not get more people into that? There's already 12 people in there. It's like the Partridge Family. So
that was your reference, the Partridge Family?
What should I write?
I mean, you could go with the Brady Bunch. That's probably a more appropriate large family.
How big's the Partridge Family?
Not as big, but they did have a bus.
Yeah.
But they all were in a band, so.
So any thoughts on that quick match? No?
No.
Trying to add more people into this.
This super feud.
Yeah.
It's like a world war.
It's almost like, I don't know if you probably didn't watch WCW right before it died, but it was basically two factions against each other, the entire organization.
Everybody was in an NWO. There were 4 NWOs at that point.
No.
And they were half merged together.
The new NWO.
You didn't everybody had a different shirt, a different matching
color,
T-shirt on,
a different color.
Yeah,
There was red, blue, red. There was red, or the red and black, or the black and white, and then
the LWO.
There was that was the red.
It was a
blue. No, red, green, and white.
Right.
And then there was the silver, and then there was NWO 2000. But by this point in the late 2000s, the NWOs was gone. It was the Millionaires Club, which was all the old people like Hogan, Kevin Nash,
the old world order,
DDP,
if you will,
basically
the OWO.
Yeah, versus everyone that was young and new. So with Eric Bischoff, so it was entire there was nothing other than those two factions. So I feel like this is basically what this is turning into.
One plot.
It's easier to write for when you do that. All right, so next up we got promo time. We cut to Stevie, very ecstatic to be on the microphone with Vampire Warrior. He's talking to Dreamer. They discuss Vampire Warrior's credentials. What kind of credentials does a vampire have, and where does he keep them?
I mean, on a resume, I would imagine like everybody else.
But doesn't credentials involve certificates and?
Yeah, it could be like a diploma from vampire school.
Where would he keep all that?
I mean, in his coffin.
Yeah, okay. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like that he sleeps on.
I mean, where else would he?
He keeps everything in there.
Yeah.
His diploma from vampires, his bachelor's in vampire. Yeah. Dreamer, he kind of agrees with, hey, you're good at what you do, which is vampire stuff, I guess. He wants to shake the Vampire Warrior's hand, but Vampire Warrior says he doesn't want to shake his hand. He wants him to get off his woman, who is Luna, which that's when we technically first find out. But I knew ahead of time.
From the future.
Yes. I didn't know that in 1994. This
is like the like the Terminator timeline.
Yeah. How do they keep that shit straight? How do you storyboard that? It's gotta be huge.
It has to be 3D.
So he says he wants Dreamer to get his hands off his woman, and then he wails. So Vampire Warrior, Dreamer, they brawl as Styles somehow makes it back to commentary in a fraction of a second. He goes from ringside interview to commentary table.
Satellites.
Teleports? I was thinking teleports. Or do you think he has like one of those Bluetooth?
In 1985? He may have been hardwired. He had a very long cord.
A very long wire that a lot of people would have tripped.
A long phone cord.
They brawl on the outside as Vampire Warrior destroys Dreamer. Vampire Warrior and Luna, they start to exchange words as we're back near what I like to call Tommy Dreamer's blading room. That little room with the 3 steps.
The bathroom that no longer has a sink.
Yeah, that Tommy Dreamer somehow always ends up in and comes out bloody. So I like to refer to it as his blading room. So Vampire Warrior, Luna, exchanging some words, and a chivalrous and bloody Tommy Dreamer valiantly comes back in between them to save Luna from her estranged, whatever he is, husband.
Vampire.
I don't know. This is her estranged vampire. Alright, so they brawl back to the ring where Tommy Dreamer finds a frying pan. Obviously.
In the ring. He found it in the ring.
Or close. It was actually a fan had it, but of course it did. Dreamer, he sneakily hits Vampire Warrior in the balls and then in the face. Dreamer, he works over the Vampire Warrior with a variety of domestic objects, as I like to call them, as opposed to foreign, because they're most likely household items. I feel like every time, and I swear I saw a brick at one point,
like a meat hammer.
Yes.
Why didn't they take this and turn this into an airline, like ECW Airlines?
Why?
I just the pictures of people in security would be funny. Like the line of security, like they have like frying pans and like machetes and stuff. Like
people getting through.
They're going through the metal detector, just like sorry, like they're pulling just like chains out of their pockets and.
Please put your weapons on the side.
Yeah.
There. And then something stupid will get them held back, like a photograph, like somebody with a
a cross necklace,
or no, somebody with a camera. You'd be like, "Hey, no flash photography."
Right? Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, you with the knife? You can come in.
ECW Airlines. We put the extreme in flight.
That plane would be going down in flames every time. They eventually make it to the announcer's booth as Vampire Warrior gets busted open. So we got two.
It's literally a booth, like at a restaurant.
Yes. Or an amusement park, like the dime toss. So there is like one table with two chairs behind it, and somebody's selling some kind of various object. Which actually, there was a lot of beer cans around there, which is definitely what you want to see near electrical equipment. So we have, for me, like they start moving around the arena. So there's great use of the arena. I mean, they ended up at the nacho stand, the exit. We saw the pillar, the whipping post, Mikey Whipwreck's whipping post, Tommy Dreamer's blading room.
This is like the worst. This is like the worst Clue game ever.
I was thinking like Candyland.
No, it's Clue. It's Clue. He killed him with the frying pan in the blading room. He killed a vampire in the blading room with the frying pan.
It was the Dreamer killing the vampire with the frying pan in the blading room. Oh man, I thought it was the whipping post. I was
not just stand. He killed him with the plastic dinosaur in the nacho stand.
Oh, we definitely have to have a board game set up at some point. All right.
It's a tiny frying pan.
Those are your little pieces. A cheese grater. A cheese grater.
A plastic dinosaur.
Oh my god.
It's a tiny steel chair.
And a table. Would there be a table?
Oh yeah. That's funny.
Alright. So they eventually do make it back to ringside, where Luna smears the Vampire Warrior's blood all over her face. So
no need for that.
No. I thought it was a great visual.
No.
I am a sick fuck though. But they are married.
So
that you can't drink your mate's blood?
No.
But they're vampires. That's what they do. They had a vampire wedding. That was in WWF.
That's actually a band.
Vampire Weekend is a band.
Are you sure?
Yes. Damn it. They had a vampire wedding, I think, and they actually
on the weekend.
It was on Halloween night, 1994. And they actually showed it on WWF because Luna was working for WWF at the time.
Is Vampire Weekend different than The Weekend?
Yeah.
Do they
much different?
Do they tour together?
They should. And only play on the weekends?
Tuesdays.
We have shit to do on the weekends.
We're busy.
Eventually, they get back into the ring, accompanied by a table and a steel dragon, which crazily makes its first appearance, I believe.
Well, it was a full house. So all the dragons were counted for. Spoken for, yeah.
The Vampire Warrior, he hits a DDT onto the table, which was actually kind of nice. And then the Vampire Warrior was about to DDT Tommy Dreamer onto the chair, but Dreamer reverses it into a backdrop. Dreamer, he then gets a head of steam, leaps off the chair that was set up, was unfolded, dragon, leaps off of it and gives Vampire Warrior basically a super DDT off of that, like after leaping, getting him the 3 count and the victory. What are your thoughts on that match?
I'm done with vampires.
Already?
No more vampires.
He just started.
I know. This is why I don't like the vampire movies. I get over it. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done already.
He's gonna be around for a little bit.
It's a shtick that I don't enjoy.
No, you're like one and done with the vampires.
I'm not even one. I'm like,
Oh, you're a zombie guy.
Yeah.
So honestly, for me, I did not know this was a match until Dreamer went for the pin. I didn't see the ref anywhere. There was no bell to start it, and it started off as a promo. So
it was a surprise.
It actually ended up going like 8 minutes long. So first match that was longer than a minute compared to the first 3. I thought it was an amazing way to get the new guy over, even though the Vampire Warrior lost, he still looked relatively strong. He bled and he mixed in some hardcore stuff, so he got a little bit over with the fans. I thought that they fit him into this Dreamer Raven storyline the best they could, because I don't know really why the hell Luna was with Dreamer or whatever, but now that she is, now we can... I mean, that makes sense with this, like why this guy would... The Vampire Warrior would be upset with Luna, because... Or upset with Dreamer, because that's his woman. Because they did suck face at... Was it the end of the last one or the one before, maybe? But Tommy Dreamer definitely swapped spit with Luna. I had a wild, bloody brawl, which was fun for all ages. Do you agree?
Except, like, if you're...
But 18 plus.
Yeah.
Alright, so we cut to Todd Gordon being being interrupted by Bill Alfonso. The two argue over... Todd Gordon wants it to be hardcore. You know, Bill Alfonso came in as the straight lace.
He wants single file lines, crew cuts.
Exactly. Chow is at 4 a.m.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes. The two shove each other as other refs and Too Cold and Cactus come out and split them up. We have a little tiff there between Todd Gordon and the troubleshooting referee.
Pennsylvania's referee.
Yes.
The PA ref.
That's true, yeah. Bill Alfonso. So next up we get the Extreme Encyclopedia, which shows one of Jungle Jim Steele, one of Paul E. Dangerously, and one of 911. So basically these are just kind of states their name, has a picture of them, kind of tells them what they're all about.
They're more like baseball cards than encyclopedias.
True. Oh, and by the way, on this Extreme Encyclopedia, the Jungle Jim thing, it says a warrior of ultimate proportions. You get it? You get it?
It's gotten. It has been gotten.
It's been gotten, and I want to give it back. So, welcome to the Jungle Hits, as Jungle Jim Steele hits the ring. Looking buff. He's actually probably the best cut person in this federation, I would think.
What's his name?
Jungle Jim Steele.
Why didn't they play Jim of the Jungle?
Does that exist?
Well, there's a George of the Jungle. The song.
Is there a song, Jim of the Jungle?
Well, there's a song, George of the Jungle.
Well, then they'd have to rewrite it. Why not just
like
play
they could have played the... Well, they're not welcome. He is the jungle.
They're welcoming him to society.
Like Encino Man.
Basically, yeah. Alright, so who is Jungle Jim Steele? Well, he is a WCW power plant, I guess, graduate? Is that what you call it? A wrestling school? Do you graduate from wrestling school?
I mean, do they have a ceremony? You get a funny hat?
It was right next to the
3-day referee school?
Yeah, and the vampire school, that Vampire Warrior.
Night school. Vampire school's night school.
Oh, that's true. It's only we only offer classes at night. So I think what they're trying to do with this guy, he basically, in your head, what you think of is he's a combination of the Ultimate Warrior and Superfly Jimmy Snuka put together. Although he is worse than the Renegade, who is a ripoff of the Ultimate Warrior. So he's a ripoff of a ripoff.
I'm flowcharting in my brain right now. Okay.
He did absolutely nothing in WCW. He was a jobber there. He did absolutely nothing here. I believe this is his first and only appearance. But he did have some success, like minor success, in Japan after this, I believe. So
big in Japan.
Yeah. So Frankenstein by Edgar Winter hits as 911 and Polly.
Does that song really hit?
What do you mean?
I don't know if it hits.
It starts?
Yeah. It doesn't. That song doesn't slap.
No. Can you guess what happens? 911. I know.
I'm gonna wait. Puts on a hoodie. Is that what he does?
He's civilized.
He puts on a hoodie.
He puts on a starter jacket. All right. Jungle Jim, he did have the right idea by basically hulking up and basically going for it. So he bum rushes 911 in the corner. Unfortunately, he misses and he gets chokeslammed and pinned. So we've gone right back to the matches.
Speed match.
We got to get all this shit in under 2 hours.
Well, maybe it's before the sun comes up.
Well, there's no why jungle people can't.
Oh, well, there's a vampire. They're paying a vampire.
But they're going...
He has to be home before dawn.
Before dawn. Is that what his mother says? Before dawn.
Before the street lights go off. Make sure you're home before the street lights go off.
Post-match. The fans want 5 chokeslams. We've already seen him chokeslam. Who did he chokeslam? The New Jersey Devil 4 times. So we need to go 5 times this time. So, chokeslam 3, Paul E. dedicates to CNN Towers and Ted Turner. Chokeslam 4 is dedicated to the Renegade. Dedicated to the Renegade, who was kind of big at the time, but he was 100% a ripoff of the Ultimate Warrior, but in WCW, because they were trying to do a Ultimate Warrior Hogan type thing.
Right.
But basically they got the Walmart version, the Aldi version of the Ultimate Warrior.
The bottom shelf cereal.
Yes. The
bag.
Yeah, the cereal that comes in a big bag. The bulk version. Chokeslam 5. Oh, wait. Paul E. says he won't grant a chokeslam number 5 unless the fans let him dedicate it to Bill motherfucking Alfonso, which the fans graciously allow him to do so.
They oblige.
Yes. And
they acquiesce that request.
Yes. And then this gets a big ECW chant. So right now the record is 5 chokeslams in a row. How degrading is that?
Yeah.
It's up there.
That's up there almost with getting punched in the balls 4 times in a row.
Alright, so another quick squash 9-on-1 match. But he already did this earlier in the night. Why do we need this again? He already did it to the New Jersey
because
Devil.
Maybe they forgot.
That he had done it earlier.
Because they put chokeslam in the name, so they had to add 4 chokeslams. We've only seen 1 hoodie so far.
That's true.
And no barbed wire.
No barbed wire. Hey, the night is young.
As of now, they should have called this ball punches, chokeslams, and vampires.
That's important. And jungles. Mythical creatures.
Vampires, ball punches, and chokeslams.
Been a much... That would have flown off the show. Alright, so...
Dad, can I borrow $19.99 so I can buy vampires, ball shots, and chokeslams?
What's it rated? PG. Gotta keep them separated by the Offspring hits as Raven, Stevie, and Beulah McGillicuddy come out. Beulah in her wrestling attire. It's wonderful. I paused a couple times. Then Man in the Box by Alice in Chains hits as Luna marches to the ring. She spits on Beulah and Raven.
So she's not a man in a box. She's a woman not in a box.
Yeah. Well, you could consider the ECW arena a box. It's like square shaped, right? No?
Wouldn't all buildings be boxes?
Basically, aren't they? Beulah, she is from the pages of Penthouse versus the land of the dark side, where Luna is from. So her husband's from the other side of darkness, and she's from the land of the dark side.
So he's from further away.
I believe so, because he's
he traveled farther. He traveled farther to get here.
So this must be why we're flying through it, because he's got quite a ways to go before he. What do? Do they vaporize when the light comes out?
They just burn.
Oh, is that what it? Oh, it burns the skin. Yeah, that's right. So Steve Richards, he Pearl Harbors Luna with a chair or a steel dragon, if you will, and Beulah immediately gets the 3 counts. So this match was basically 3 seconds long. Other than Tommy Dreamer versus Vampire Warrior, which I didn't even know was a match, there's been 4 minutes of wrestling, if that.
This reminds me. So there was a Fat Records compilation CD called
Short Music.
short music for short people.
Yes.
And all the songs were under 30 seconds long.
I own that.
Yes.
I still have it.
I still have it too, yeah.
There was like 130 some songs
They
or
should
something.
have called this short wrestling for people with ADD.
Post-match, Raven destroys Luna with a DDT and then a pretty stiff kick to the back of her head. It was pretty brutal. Dreamer, he tries to make the save, but gets a steel dragon and a DDT instead. Raven, he then proceeds to snap 3 of Dreamer's fingers, which is really, it looked kind of gross, but you could tell it was kind of fake. You know, he was trying to hyperextend and then he just tried to rip them backwards. They did pretty good because, you know, you can't really fake breaking some of these fingers that well. You kind of really have to break them to make it. So I think they backed up on the camera there, so I kind of see what was going on, but it wasn't too obvious.
They green screened them.
Basic CGI, all that stuff.
Didn't have CGI yet.
Instead of editing on the computer, they just
use scissors. Scissors and tape.
On the 8mm. Richards, he then blasts him with a chair. Raven, he then handcuffs Luna to the outside ropes, crucifying her. Dreamer, the consummate gentleman, again sacrifices himself and takes the chair shot, protecting Luna. So Luna was out, sacrificed. Raven was about to nail her with the chair, and Dreamer crawled in and took the shot in the head, which I thought was just a beautiful moment.
Brought a tear to your eye.
Yes. It stirred up all these emotions. But instead of swinging again, you know, which was what I would have done, Raven just drops the chair. Well, I mean, he hit Dreamer with the chair and he fell out of the ring and over. You could just swing again and hit.
Out of ammo.
You're only allowed 1 swing per chair. Like
there's a lifespan on those things.
There was a game, I think it was WWF Raw on the Super Nintendo. Like if you used a weapon like more than 3 times, it would break. Mm-hmm. All right, so this match was all about the post-match, which was incredibly brutal, just intensifying this feud. The only thing is, how do you think the Vampire Warrior would have felt about this? It's his estranged wife that he's pissed that Tommy Dreamer is like banging or whatever, but he's mad at her still. Would he be okay? And he's teaming kind of with Raven and Stevie. So how do you think I bet
he felt lost.
He didn't know what emotions.
Mm-hmm. It was a whirlwind of feelings that probably even to this day he probably hasn't been able to come to grips with.
He has. I think he's done many interviews and talk shows about it. So yeah, I feel like what would you do? Like you're mad at Dreamer, he's banging your wife basically, but then Raven is chaining up your wife about to hit her. How are you supposed? What are you supposed to be emoting? It's just a whirlwind, you know?
And you're a vampire.
Do they have feelings?
They're like, oh yeah, they're dramatic as hell.
Are they?
Yeah. There's no chill vampires.
Oh no.
That's why they wear those fluffy shirts.
There's so much emotion going on.
Yeah.
Unlike a zombie who's totally chill.
You can hang out with a zombie. You can kick back, have a couple of beers with a zombie. You know, wouldn't be a problem.
I have seen Idle Hands.
Yeah, no, a vampire. No, he's got to pair the right wine. He would be classical music playing. No.
Oh wait, we're having fish and a red wine.
Yeah,
but I'm out of here.
No, you can have just a Bud Light and some brains with a zombie.
Yeah, you would have to have like a fucking watercress sandwich with a vampire and a nice white wine, a Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
Fucking snooty vampire. Alright, so we cut to Raven, Stevie, and the Pitbulls in the ring. For this next match, which Styles informs us it's these 3, the heels, versus Taz, Too Cold, and Tommy Dreamer.
How cold?
Too Cold. Scorpio. Excuse me. Do I have to say his full Christian name? Too Cold Scorpio.
First name, Too Cold.
Last name, Scorpio. So it's supposed to be Taz, Too Cold, and Dreamer, but obviously Dreamer cannot wrestle.
Because he just got hit in the face with a chair.
Yeah, and his fingers are broken and he's bloody still from his earlier thing.
He's had a day.
He's had a rough night. So, Am I Evil hits again as your boy Hack Myers comes out, hits the ring, clears the house, but then Bill Alfonso comes out.
And says, nah.
Yeah, he says, no. You are not signed to this match. You are not wrestling. This garners like major heat from the fans too. Nuclear heat, they used to say back in the day.
It's hot.
Napalm. So yeah, Hack, he can't wrestle because he's not scheduled, saying Dreamer doesn't have the courage to come out and wrestle. Which just gives them, because the fans are finally starting to appreciate Tommy Dreamer or whatever, and Bill Alfonso I think does a great job just fucking and raising the ire of, these bloodthirsty fans.
He pokes bears for a living.
Hornets' nests, all the bad things, dead bodies, all of them. Live bodies. All of a sudden we hear a whoop. There it is. A tag team.
Back again.
Too Cold Scorpio hits the ring. He hits the pit bulls, but eventually overwhelmed by the three heels. Then Anthrax's Keep It in the Family kicks on. That one is actually, I think, a little slower than but no, it does kick eventually. I think it starts off slow, but then it hammers.
Is it kick, hammer, or hit? Pick one.
All of them. I'll look it up. I like to use many.
That'd be a good name for a pay-per-view. Kicks, hammers, and hits.
Or like a compilation tape.
Kicks, hammers, hits.
The all-new Taz hits the ring. Belly to bellies, everyone clears the ring. So next up we have our 7th match, believe it or not, of the night. Which I think before, I don't think there's more than 5 or 6 matches. So what we have now is a 2-on-3 handicap match. Raven and the Pitbulls with Stevie Richards versus Taz, Too Cold Scorpio. And Taz actually came out with Paul E.
His real name. His name should be with Stevie Richards.
His first name should be with Stevie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's just always there. He's with somebody.
He's Lil Jon.
Yeah, he hasn't he's never in the actual spotlight or anything. He's the hype man.
He's in the corner of every photo.
It's like, where's Waldo? Oh, there he is. So Taz, Pitbull 2 started off with Taz shaking off Pitbull 2's blows. Taz shows off his 2 dans in judo. Remember? He has a second dan in judo.
What's a dan?
I don't know. But he has 2 of them.
Okay.
So he's showing off his 2 dans in judo. The 2 teams trade momentum back and forth in the opening minutes. Too Cold displays his aerial prowess with drop kicks, flying head scissors, and such. As Taz displays his mat prowess with power moves and takedowns. You got aerial and mat
Ground.
The ground game, but not the pound game. You got the ground in the air.
What about sea?
We don't have anyone that does any kind of wet.
What? No, there's no wet work.
All right. What about sea?
There's no guy named the fishmonger.
No, or Aquaman.
Right? Yeah.
No, not yet. Anyway, I hope so.
There's no fish-based wrestler.
There's Shark Boy. There is a Shark Boy.
There's no a sea captain or a pirate. There's no pirates.
There's a PCO. He was a pirate, Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
There you go.
He was the one-eyed pirate that used to wrestle Bret Hart and stole his leather jacket.
There you go.
Actually, it was right around this time, too, I think.
Yeah.
Alright, so the heels, they gain the upper hand with some brawling on the outside. Taz, he eventually gains the upper hand himself with a low blow, but is cut off before he can make
He gains the upper hand with a low blow.
Isn't that hilarious? Taz, he finally hits a half Nelson Tazplex, which Joey calls it a Tazplex, on Raven, and finally makes the hot tag to Too Cold Scorpio. So we have an upper hand gained by the low blow and a hot tag on a cold ass Scorpio.
Cold ass Scorpio would be a better name for him.
I think he had to tone it down because he was in WCW. So Too Cold Scorpio he super kicks everyone and hits the picture perfect moonsault, which it is. This one's beautiful. It's picture perfect. What's a better imagery than picture perfect? Textbook? Nah.
Oil painting.
Cut to Paulie. He talks, actually, on the outside, he talks into the camera saying, "Some people have no taste," as we cut to some floozy in the audience with I Heart Stevie Richards sign. Taz and Scorpio have words with each other as they were both trying to hit a move on Pitbull 2. So they're obviously not regular tag team partners, so they kind of had a little disagreement there. So the Pitbulls are able to take the advantage by hitting Taz from behind, but Scorpio retaliates with a double clothesline from the top rope to both. Then we cut to Richards being all excited about his new fan. Raven slaps him real hard as Beulah comes by and starts jaw-jacking with this fan. And then Raven just straight up grabs her by the back of the head, the hair, basically like a caveman, and drags her to the back as she's still trying to give out words as she's being drove back. So we cut back on the inside. The Pitbulls, they have the upper hand, but Pitbull 2 gets up on the ropes as they have as they have lost Raven, their master. So these Pitbulls are lost without their master. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to finish.
They don't know how to eat food. They can't find food.
Yeah. So the Pitbulls, without a master, are unable to hit the super bomb on Taz, who reverses it into a belly-to-belly overhead suplex off the top and gets him and Too Cold the victory. What are your thoughts?
There's a lot going on there. There's a lot of people. A lot of feuding. I don't know what the hell just happened.
There's also a new person being drugged into this dreamer.
Right. just like a random assault. A random assault happened.
So there's a new fan who we will get to see, but not this time. I'll keep it in limbo. But eventually she will play
a part.
Yes. But why not add more people into this storyline? There's already 80 billion. We are surpassing the Partridge Family.
It's like the Young and the Restless now.
Yeah, we're past the Brady Bunch. We're getting to the point of the Duggars on TLC. What was that? How many kids did they have? Like 18 and counting?
Like a lot.
Alright, so more storyline with the Dreamer Raven feud. Stevie has a new fan. Will we see her again? Question mark.
Wink, wink.
We'll have to see. Taz, he's got a new gimmick. He's the all-new Taz. His new gimmick is to not have a gimmick. That's basically what it is.
Mm-hmm. Too cool.
Yeah, he comes out like he's like a badass who suplexes now. He has Paul E. to help get him over as well, which Paul E. could fucking get a turd over probably. Thought that the Pitbulls were able to finish without their master was a nice little touch, because it seemed like a good plot to the match. And Raven, he did all his Raven kind of things where he sits in the corner, Daria type, Generation X type of things.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. So
Latchkey Kid.
Yeah, I thought he was a great character, and he was all in that match. Although I don't know why it really didn't make sense. I mean, Dreamer and Raven did, but then Dreamer that makes sense. The Pitbulls are like Raven's the master of them, but why are Taz and Scorpio in here? Just because Dreamer needed some friends, but then Dreamer didn't even end up being in the match. So I don't know what's going on there. But next up, here comes the Hot Stepper hits. As the Public Enemies, who are the champs, come out first. Which you
love when that happens.
I am anti-champs coming out first. And then immediately Hair of the Dog hits as Axel, complete with his barbed wire baseball bat, comes out. And this is supposed to be a tag team match for the championship. And this is your first traditional tag team match that's supposed to happen on the card. But he's supposed to call out his... he had a mystery opponent.
Not opponent. Mystery partner.
Yes.
Gee, I wonder who he'll pick.
Anyone in the locker room. Who does he pick?
His brother.
Ian Rotten. So, Ian Rotten with a barbed wire steel dragon comes out. Then this is when Bill Alfonso hits the ring and says, since they signed a stipulation a year ago that whatever team lost, them versus the Pitbulls, had to split up, and that's bound by fate, right?
He kept track of the past?
Yeah. Yes.
In wrestling?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Rarely.
He must have had great note-taking skills.
Meticulous note-taking.
Copious notes.
Yeah, so they are not allowed to tag together. Axel, he does protest, but despite his protest, Bill Alfonso says no.
Zero match.
Yeah. EC dub chants ensue. Axel, who says, the fans paid their hard-earned money, they want to see us and Axel's not allowed to wrestle on television because he's too hardcore, which actually is true. And also his matches are probably terrible in a wrestling sense, like a pure wrestling sense. And, violence on television at this point is pretty frowned upon. So he wants to give the fans their money's worth. So what does he do? Just attacks his brother, and they start fighting. They start fighting out of the ring as the Public Enemies dance in the ring by themselves.
No opponent.
Yeah. So no tag team match either. So we still haven't had a tag team match yet. A traditional tag team match. We've had the handicap match.
Correct.
All right. So yeah, the Public Enemies, they're just dancing in the ring by themselves for a little bit until a couple of Gangsters.
Gangsters.
Is that what they are?
They're the Gangsters.
They are, but we don't know that yet. They're just a couple of gangster thug type individuals. Hit the ring, work over the Public Enemies with a billy club and a pie tin. Me personally, I'd rather be
pie tin.
100% of the time, work me over with the pie tin.
The pie tin is aluminum foil shaped like a plate.
As opposed to a billy club.
which is a wooden stick.
And it's like basalt.
A dense wooden stick. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Aluminum foil shaped into a plate.
So the Public Enemies receive quite a beating for quite a long period of time. They do become bloody. Johnny Grunge especially, man. He is like a stuck pig, as they say in the country. It was kind of funny at one point. They tried to put Rocco Rock through a table, but the table did not want to cooperate and broke when they just laid him on it. But they did do a rocket launcher, the Gangsters, that is, onto Rocco Rock through the other half of the table that didn't break. Finally, Philadelphia's finest come out and arrest the Gangsters. Side note, hilarious. Jerome Young, a.k.a. New Jack, who actually just recently died, like a couple weeks ago. He just had gotten arrested like earlier in the month for assault. I think he was like facing assault charges previously. So, not much of a stretch for him to play the
He already knew how to put the cuffs on.
Next up, main event.
The big one.
Yes. So we have Enter Sandman hits as Woman and the Sandman come out first! Exclamation point. He is the champ.
Mm-hmm. It's the way they do things here.
Yeah.
That's actually that's the extreme part.
Maybe that's like
they're so extreme.
Yeah.
The champ comes out first.
They're so like anti-mainstream, anti-establishment that, you know what, we're not gonna follow your traditions. We're gonna we put out the champs first.
You know, it would be more extreme. What? A 2 count.
That'd be tough.
You know how much faster this would have went.
That match that took 3 seconds would have only took 2 seconds.
The 2 count in wrestling would change the game like the 3-point shot did in basketball.
Yeah, I don't think America's or the world is ready for a 2 count.
For a 2 count?
A 2 count wrestling system. I don't even want to think about that.
Player safety.
My mind is blowing everywhere right now. So Woman, Sandman, they saunter around the ring as we notice the ropes have been replaced with barbed wire. I don't think there was any mention of it prior to this, so as far as on the show. If you were watching the shows leading up to the show, obviously.
Or if you bought it, like it's in the name.
Well, you didn't know that. You didn't know that it was going to be a barbed wire match. Barbed wire could have just...
Yeah, but
it wasn't a chokeslam match.
But you've gone this far and there hasn't been barbed wire. So
that's true.
You saw chokeslams. You saw Ann Hoodie.
But I think actually the Public Enemies, they wear like hoodie jerseys with hoods on them. Does that count as a hoodie?
Yeah.
And they're from...
Is there a hat attached to your shirt?
Yeah.
That's a hood.
Okay. A hoodie? If there's a hat attached to your shirt?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a built-in hat.
I mean, you just thinking back some of these ideas, like why did it take some people so long to think of these?
Hundreds of years.
People were wearing shirts
hats and hats.
Shirts and hats were separate.
Yeah. You had to bring a hat with you.
And like, you know, it's awesome. If you don't want it anymore, you just throw it out. You don't even have to worry about it. But it's still there if you need it. And
it had to have killed umbrella sales.
Or put a serious dent in them. And hats.
I hate carrying an umbrella, but I love wearing a hood.
So, Born to be Wired. Excuse me.
That's a great name for like a phone company or something like that. Cable company.
That's actually the name of a ECW pay-per-view in the future.
Aww, yeah.
Born to be Wild comes on as Cactus.
There was no reason to put emphasis on that. Zero.
Hey,
he ran fast. You just threw that in there.
If you decide.
All verbs.
Born to be Wild comes on as Cactus walks to ringside, donning a shirt with Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen on it. Cactus, he gets in the ring on the mic and tells the Sandman to get his ass in the ring, as the Sandman is a little weary of the barbed wire. Sandman wearily does so. Some teasing of the Sandman going into the wire, but he catches himself and then goes outside, and then he calms his nerves with a smoke and a beer. Cactus, he is the first to taste the wire as his hair gets caught.
Ooh, that seems painful.
Yes, in the wire. After the Sandman delivers an elbow. Cactus then takes a face-first suplex onto the barbed wire. So there was no fucking around the first bump. Onto the barbed wire.
They're like, hey, if you thought there might not be blood, you're wrong.
Yeah. So there was no little...
Where they just like touch it,
yeah,
or like
exactly.
get near. No, it was like let's just cut our faces off real fast.
All right, so that was a brutal spot. This causes some brawling on the outside, as now that just destroyed the wire on the one side. So we have some brawling on the outside. Sandman, he drops a leg to Cactus, who was draped across the wire. That also looked relatively painful. Cactus, his left arm, is trapped in the wire, and it's the first place to be busted open. So we got some blood from the left arm area of Cactus Jack. Sandman, he wraps Cactus's face in barbed wire, cutting him open upstairs. Jack, eventually, he repays the favor, breaking the Sandman with the wire a couple times. Cactus, he rips the Sandman's shirt over his head, which is not a position you want to be in a barbed wire match.
You want to have everything covered.
Exactly. They brawl around the outside, trading rakes to various parts of the body with the barbed wire. A cheese grater makes an appearance. That was a pretty brutal spot. That rips open Sandman. Next, Cactus is then crotched on the barbed wire, collapsing on the side. That is just incredibly painful to watch, especially as a male. Jack takes over on offense with a DDT and a leg drop onto a steel dragon, which was draped across Sandman's base. Jack finds the spool of barbed wire that they used.
The source.
Yeah. Under the ring, brings it in. But in true form, thou who hast found it, it must be used against thee. Is that William Shakespeare?
I'm sure William Shakespeare would have said it much more
so basically,
smoother than you did.
Whoever finds the foreign object and brings it inside almost always has to have it used against them, which happens as the Sandman attacks Cactus and basically just rams him into that spool of barbed wire repeatedly. Jack, he finds the wire cutters, cuts himself off a strip of barbed wire. From the ropes, though, not from the spool. Not from the source, which was interesting thought.
Yeah, if you're going to acquire new barbed wire, you think you get some fresh stuff.
Fresh stuff, yeah, exactly.
You don't, use old duct tape.
Cactus, he wraps his arm in the barbed wire and begins to attack the Sandman with it.
That's an interesting strategy.
Yeah. Cactus drops a barbed wire elbow from the apron to the floor. 3 steel dragon shots leave both men collapsed on the ground for the 10 count. Or so you thought, actually. Cactus, he did barely make it up for the 10 count, and he's actually announced as the new champion because Sandman couldn't rise before the 10 count. But, Bill Alfonso comes out, says the title cannot change hands on a 10 count. He then decks Jim Molyneux, the referee.
What?
Who gets pissed and tries to come back at Alfonso, but Cactus holds him back. This in turn causes the Sandman to attack Cactus Jack from behind with the barbed wire in a garrote type fashion.
This is where JR would be like, oh, hell's breaking loose.
A slobber knocker. A Pier 6 brawl. This is actually pretty brutal, as you can see him kind of choking Cactus Jack with barbed wire.
Cutting his throat with barbed wire.
There is many important vessels in the neck there.
All of your hoses are in there.
Yes.
A lot of plumbing in your neck, as they say.
Eventually, the Sandman dumps Cactus to the outside, and Alfonso calls for the bell due to Cactus Jack being unable to continue, getting massive heel heat.
Because he's bleeding out of his carotid artery.
Yeah, probably. All right, so this prompts Todd Gordon to come out, but he's floored by Bill Alfonso. And the two, that is Alfonso and Sandman, escape with the belt. And then we end with Cactus in the ring, wrapped in barbed wire, to your favorite, standing ovation.
Because he just
With that
laid it on the line. Let it on the line.
Would that warrant a standing ovation?
Yeah. Okay. Someone, allow themselves to be.
As long as they have...
As long as he doesn't die.
Yeah.
Then you should sit
quietly.
quietly.
As long as these people also haven't overgiven their amount of standing ovations that they can give in their lifetime.
You finally start to listen to me. Yeah. You're listening to me.
For me, this match was relatively brutal with some sick bumps. Almost hard to watch. The crotching of the barbed wire.
Yeah.
The bullshit ending was to get Bill Alfonso and his heat over, but he was already did this twice before.
His heat is hot.
I mean, I guess it is working, but
it's hot heat.
You're getting over a skinny ass referee who won't win your world title or anything, but it's still a good gimmick, and it's hot at the time. Hot. What are your thoughts on the match individually and the way it ended?
Every time Cactus Jack gets in there, it's gonna get bloody. That's what we know.
Yes, and he can bring out the best in the Sandman, who doesn't have much dog.
I'm kind of okay sometimes when your last match has some sort of bullshit in it.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It makes you want to watch.
It keeps you coming back for the next one.
That's true.
You know, if it's just a clean title change, it's a clean title change.
Every once in a while.
But when there's some bullshit, you're like, ugh, bullshit, and then you got to come back for the next one. See if there's more bullshit or less bullshit or the same amount of bullshit,
equal to or greater than. On the whole, this card was just okay in my book. Tommy Dreamer, Vampire Warrior stuff was pretty good. The final match was fun for my tastes. A lot of quick matches involving really no storyline.
A lot of filler.
Yeah. More filler than filler.
Yeah.
The filler became the main part, and the main matches seemed to be the filler.
It'd be like going to eat a meal of food, right? Just having a lot of side dishes.
Yeah, exactly. Just a plethora of
just small plates.
Yeah, just French fries, cottage cheese, just ordering all the side plates.
Right.
And no main meal.
Mm-hmm.
So
not appetizers. Sides.
Baked potato, cottage cheese.
You open the menu and it's just if you order a side, you get 6 sides on the side.
If you order 6 sides, you get 1 entree.
Which is just a side. It's another side.
On a bigger plate.
So basically it's just potatoes prepared all of the ways. Can you imagine going to a restaurant and ordering just I want the fresh cut fries, I want the curly fries, I want the
baked potato,
the mashed potato.
We do have a monster storyline of this Raven Dreamer debacle, which is just adding more and more components to it. And then also the big Bill Alfonso storyline. Couple new people. New Jack Mustafa, the Gangsters, make their debut. They came in from SMW. I guess they just kind of left.
Originally a 3-piece.
Oh, were they?
With D'Lo Brown.
Oh, I did know that. Yes, I did know that. That was on the dark side of the ring. If you ever watched that with New Jack. The life and crimes of New Jack. Not the life and time. Very appropriate. Gangsters they left SMW apparently, but apparently Jim Cornette had already filled their spots anyway. Like, they were booked in future matches, but they left SMW, came here. Jungle Jim Steele, who debuts and leaves us at the same day. Stevie's new fan, Big Foul Puccio, and the Vampire Warrior. So a lot of new people. No Shane Douglas, no Eddie Guerrero, no Dean Malenko, no Chris Benoit. So I think that was a big hit, actually.
Yeah.
You didn't have people that actually could wrestle. And with all the talents being gone, I'm surprised the matches were so short. And they had so many.
Spaghetti on a wall.
See what sticks. What did stick? Tommy Dreamer, Raven stuff.
They were already stuck. They were already on the wall.
They've already.
That was last week's spaghetti.
That was last week's spaghetti.
Still hanging.
Okay, at this point, going in the background, I guess Douglas, he's mad at Paulie at this point.
Oh no.
For keeping the belt on the Sandman and not having it jobbed back to him. That motherfucker just had the belt for like 400 days before that. He's like worse than Hulk Hogan, like just not wanting to give up the title.
Maybe his pants keep falling down.
So he and Chris Benoit at this point are in talks with the WWF. And Benoit actually has a couple tryout matches at this point. So we'll see what's going on there. I don't know exactly. Eddie and Dean Malenko, I think they had 3 30-minute draws in one day.
I'm just thinking about if they made pants with the belt loops big enough
for like
for championship belts.
I'm surprised like Conor McGregor or Floyd Mayweather or somebody hasn't done that.
And it's in my I can see it in my head and it's the funniest thing ever.
You could put it through the loops. How big would those loops be?
They'd be like your knees. Big. Yeah.
Yeah, so Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko were not on the card. They did just recently they did 3 time limit draws in 24 hours in 3 different cities. So I wonder if you could actually order that back in the day, that video of them, which I think I actually have the fan cams of. So I don't know if that's why they were off the card. They were just exhausted. But if you're going to have like a big card like this,
rest up.
Showcase.
You should rest up.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing this in the little 200, like, I guess that's kind of selfish, but not doing it in the bigger cities. But if you want to get paid. But then again, you don't have to pay them to wrestle, so I don't know how much they were charging. All right, so at this point, Paul Heyman himself, he actually has like a shell corporation called HHG, which I think is investors from his family because he comes from like a lawyer's family. So they're in negotiations to buy out Todd Gordon's 50% share of ECW at this point, which actually HHG would go on to own it until its demise. Which, yeah, I mean, if you try to find anything on HHG, like I swear, it's just it just exists on paper. There's like there's no kind of information about it. It's just a name on like one sheet of paper somewhere.
It was a duffel bag.
All right, yeah. So I think that's it. That's all I have. Next up, we're gonna do 2 shows because they have a show on June 30th and then July 1st. So Mountaintop Madness and Hardcore Heaven 95 are up next. So join us next time as we reopen the Extreme Wrestling Archive.
We're gonna close it though right now, right?
Yes.
So then we can reopen it later. Yeah. Okay. Make sure you lock it up.
Yeah. We're not gonna seal it shut though.
No, but put the lock on it.
Party people! Tag team music in full effect. That's me, DC, the brain supreme, and my man Steve Roland. We're kicking the flow. And it goes a little something like this. Tag team back again. Check it, direct it, let's begin. Party on, party people, let me hear some noise. DC's in the house, jump, rejoices. There's a party over here, a party over there. Wave your hands in the air, shake the dairy, yeah. These 3 words mean you're getting busy. Whoop, there it is, Hitman. Whoop, there it is. 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 Upside down and inside out. I'm about to show all you folks what it's all about. Now it's time for it to get on the mic and make this party hot. I'm taking it back to the old school, cause I'm an old fool who's so cool. If you wanna get down, I'ma show you the way. There it is, let me hear you say. Whoop, there it is. Come on, y'all. Whoop, there it is.
microphone dank, rock the mic. I crave skin rip. Find a honey dip to dip it in. Slam dunk it, stick it, flip it and ride that BOOTY, oh my. Ooh, that's it. Come on, whoop. There it is, I'm done. Whoop. Come on, whoop. Louder. Whoop. Give it to me. Whoop. Come on. Whoop. Get louder. Whoop. Let it hit. Whoop. Come on. Whoop.
Pushing up daisies, the underground sound that you have found amazing, outstanding, demanding, commanding, you people dancing. That's a breath taker. I produce, aka the Undertaker. You wanna come down to the underground old school? Here's a shovel. Can you dig it, fool? Can you dig it? We can dig it. Can y'all dig it? We can dig it. Can you dig it? We can dig it. Can y'all dig it? We can dig it. Can you dig it? We can dig it. Can y'all dig it? We can dig it. Can you dig it? We can dig it. Can y'all dig it?
WHOOMP as I flow to the flight from the school of old. Hardcore, kick the folklore wreck. 3 to the 2 and 1 mic check. Mass skill, flow ill on the mess of steel. That's the grill of the microphone I just killed. Party people, wish your party tag team is through. Whoop, there it is. I thought you knew. Whoop, there it is. Whoop.